Alright, so what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I bet you didn't think that I'd be diving back into the world of Assassin's Creed. Obviously, if you've been following the channel, you know that earlier this year I decided to go back and play the Lost Assassin's Creeds. And what that means for me was playing every Assassin's Creed after Revelations up to Unity, or really Syndicate, but that's not the point. The point is, I fell in love with Assassin's Creed all over again, and I remembered why I loved the game so much, and of course it made me miss the old Assassin's Creed. Now that's a saying or a term that has been said all over YouTube for many years now. I miss the old Assassin's Creed. I wish it was like it was before. Blah, 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 blah.
Not up in here!
Ubisoft kind of heard that, kind of saw the need and the want for that after 3 humongous RPG games. Fans of Assassin's Creed miss the old ways to play, the old style, the more stealth approach, wearing your hood, being a true assassin. So they took the opportunity to give fans what they wanted, and they released Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Mirage for a couple of hours, so I've been able to experience a little bit of the combat, the gameplay, the cutscenes, the parkour, and I wanted to just sit here and talk a little bit about my experience so far. So really starting off, is it similar to the old Assassin's Creed games? Yes and no, because you can tell that it is different from these big Valhalla games or Origins or Odyssey. It's different. You can take a more stealthy approach. There's more focus on that. The way that you can take out your enemies is similar to how it used to be, but it's not the old Assassin's Creed games. Those games are long gone. We're never gonna get a game like Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Unity for that matter, or Assassin's Creed 3. Those games are just gone. I think those games would have eventually turned into what Assassin's Creed Mirage is now. It's like a modern take on those older games, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So you're able to see the difference between a Mirage and a Unity, for example. And I'm gonna compare it to Unity because that was the one that was the most decisive of the older games, but I feel like with Unity you were headed towards a certain direction, and Assassin's Creed could have grown from that, but they ended up going in a different direction, and this is where we're at. Talking a little bit about the world and the setting, Baghdad and the mountains and everything that you get to experience in Assassin's Creed Mirage, it feels alive. It feels like there was a lot of detail and thought put into it. A lot of the emphasis, of course, is on parkour. There's these little debris that's in the river, so you're able to jump across the river using the debris, and I think there was a lot of thought that went into that, so it makes it fun and engaging, and you're able to parkour and escape and run in different ways, so you can tackle certain assassinations and you can just start sprinting and make your way out in really fun and cool ways. But on the topic of the parkour, it feels a little bit slow compared to like the older Assassin's Creed games or even Unity.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
If you wanted that type of parkour, you don't have it here. Like, you have basically what we've been having for the past couple years here, but it's now in a new setting and you're able to use it much more freely and better. But it's basically the same type of parkour. It's not like Unity. Once again, I'll bring Unity up again, but it's not like Unity. So you're not gonna get that. And the reason that I say that is because a lot of people were like, oh, I really hope that it has like that parkour from Unity. Well, it doesn't. Doesn't mean that it's bad, but it just doesn't. That parkour is also probably gone, and we won't be seeing it ever again.
You don't just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
The combat is a little bit awkward just to start getting the hang of it, but if you're used to these newer Assassin's Creeds and you're able to play them and you have like hundreds of hours in on them, you'll be able to transition into this pretty good, and you'll be able to pick up kind of where you left off. The combat can be fun and engaging once you master it. However, one thing that I'm personally suffering, this on a personal note, is that since I recently played those Assassin's Creeds, I played Black Flag, I played Unity, Syndicate, and Rogue, my head is still with those controllers. Since those are the most recent ones that I've played, I jumped into Assassin's Creed Mirage and I'm keep pressing the wrong buttons. I keep pressing buttons that I would have pressed when I was playing Unity once again, or Black Flag and stuff like that, and it's just not working because the controls that you use, the buttons, have completely changed from back then. So that's a personal problem that I'm dealing with, and if you notice in some of the clips that I'm using here for this particular video, you see that at random times I bring up the menu, or I bring up the weapon wheel, or I bring something up because I keep confusing the freaking controllers. But of course, the more you continue to play, you'll get over that and you should be good to go. But just if you haven't played Assassin's Creed in many years, or you've only played the old ones over and over again, and you jump into this, then it might be a little bit different, or it might be a little bit of a struggle to adjust, but you will with time. Another thing that I like to touch on right now quickly is the story and kind of what I've been feeling about it. it's interesting. I kind of see where they're trying to go. It's obviously the assassins versus the Templars, or the hidden ones versus the Order. And just like the description from Ubisoft, it's a coming of age story of a thief turned assassin. Obviously that's Basim. So you're following his story, his origin, and seeing where he came from. But the story hasn't been hitting. It's lacking a little bit, in my opinion, in certain areas. I'm not feeling the emotion yet. The voice acting from some of the characters is a little bit off. I'm not fully convinced, so I'm having a little bit of.
You ever had a dreams that you had you could do so you
a little bit of difficulties in that area. It's trying to not focus so much on RPG aspects, right? It wanted to kind of go into the direction of the older games to please many of the fans, but it feels like a really small RPG without a lot of the RPG aspects, if that makes sense. Now, it might be a little bit hard to describe, but once you play it, some of the cutscenes remind me of like an RPG type game. Like if I was playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, it has the feeling of an RPG, but it's not trying to be an RPG. And that's something that was really noticeable when I was playing the game. The cutscenes feel a little weird, a little bit out of place sometimes. And I noticed that there has been, in just the few hours that I've played, there's been so many montages. Now, I don't know why they've been using them so much, but it's skipping through certain parts of the story, kind of speeding them up. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes you don't want to go through unnecessary things. So maybe they're putting that in the montage, but I've just seen a lot and I've noticed that. I wanted to point that out. There's a lot of montage in the game. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't. Just wanted to throw that out there. I just want to say that change really was inevitable when it came to Assassin's Creed. What I mean by that is, if the RPG Assassin's Creed's never released, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, that doesn't mean that Assassin's Creed wouldn't be different today. I believe that it would have changed, and maybe we'd still be wanting the old Assassin's Creeds, but just in a different way. What we have now with Mirage is what I think would have eventually happened had we not gotten the other 3 Assassin's Creed that I just mentioned, and we would have kept doing the same thing over and over again, because you have to change somewhat and evolved, and new people joined the studio, and new ways to play, and new engines, and all this stuff. So just because this Assassin's Creed Mirage isn't the 100% back to Assassin's Creed 1, back to Assassin's Creed 2, or even back to the parkour of Assassin's Creed Unity, doesn't mean that it sucks, doesn't mean that it's bad, doesn't mean that it's ass, doesn't mean any of that. It's a good game. It's a good change of pace from what we've been getting the last couple years. And if you just enjoy Assassin's Creed and you are a fan of the old ones, the new ones, you like both of them, this is gonna fill you up with what you need. It's gonna be a good experience and a good time.
Ice. Get that cone out of my face!
So yeah, I just wanted to really put my 2 cents out there and talk a little bit about the feelings that I've got playing this game. Let me know what you guys think though, down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next Assassin's Creed video, probably next week.